that you're saying, and it's the way that you deliver it all. Now, before I go back into any more questions, Danny, how are you doing? Like,
I'm
I know you're used to this, right? But this is some amazing. This is amazing. Okay,
it's mind blowing. It literally is, and I'm so proud of Elena Danaan. And I'm going to brag. She's my best friend on the planet, literally, on and off world. And I want to say a couple of things because we know, the Brits. The Brits that have never heard this, because people have to understand Elena is expressing and explaining that she's not new age, she's not a wackadoodle, she's not channeling, she's not omming, omnipresent beings that are made up. These are physical beings. If you shot one, it would bleed. And people don't understand that, or it hasn't been explained. It's not their fault, but they've got to catch up quick because we haven't got time anymore for people to be sneering and criticizing because they are so far behind. So we're so grateful to be on this channel, which is basically crashing all systems in together. Now, Elena's explained about the grey ETs taking children for years. That actually stopped in 2021. But here's the thing. If people don't believe that, it doesn't matter because there's proof. We've got government documents and anyone can look it up. The administration of President Dwight Eisenhower had an administration called Majority 12 or MJ12. They made a deal with grey ETs to allow the ETs to take humans and take their genetic material, because the greys came along and they said, our planet's dying, help us. I know we stink of fart, but we'll only take a few people. Well, those mofos took millions of children, traumatized. Some women they took can't have children to this day. This happened, and it's not funny. It's not still happening, though, and people are only just catching up. Please don't go into trauma or drama. You don't need to. Elena is explaining everything, and I'm backing it up with the on-world, Earth, documents and time situations that you can look. Is this real or not? Yes, it is. The governments across the world have been in and working with aliens for 7 decades now, easily, and it's all real and it's all true. It's so beautiful as well that Elena has written so many books explaining, expressing, and I'll tell you, there is a massive global company that is so terrified of Elena Danaan, and I'm going to name them. They call themselves NASA. NASA shits itself when Elena Danaan talks because she's getting off-planet information and she's putting it out, and then NASA come a couple of weeks later saying, oh, by the way, this happened and that happened. It's like, NASA, sit down. You had a job, you had one job, and that was to report on the happenings on and off planet, and you failed. So now we listen to people like Elena Danaan, who brings proof, who lands proof. That's what we want. I'm a skeptic. I have seen the ETs that Elena Danaan shares. I have physically seen them with my own eyes, not in dream time, not in the meditation. And so I'm very direct because, again, we need to land all the information now. What Elena Danaan says, and when you hear from Tony Rodriguez later and JP later, they have all been off planet. And JP and Tony Rodriguez were taken by the American military. JP volunteered because they've got craft on Earth in America. They have spacecraft, reverse and engineered anti-gravity spacecraft. And again, don't believe me, I don't care, but look it up. It's called Solar Warden. Solar Warden is the American space fleet that the American military soldiers are going to the moon and back in. And it takes a few minutes to get to the moon. And again, if you can't accept it, it doesn't matter. It's happened and happening, whether you can accept it or not. We're just bringing it directly to you. So I think I'll stop there, Ron, for a minute. Unless you have any questions on those subjects.
Do I have any questions? Do I have any questions? Do I have any questions, Danny? The whole show could just be called me ranting at the ladies. That's what this could be called, because I'm telling you, I got some questions. First thing I want to ask you, though, obviously, Beverly, I'm sorry for just ranting, okay, but I've got one more. So the moon, right? The dark side of the moon, the suspiciousness of the moon landing, all of these things. I've read the documentation that was sent on, and obviously the moon pops up a few times in that document. Can you collectively just educate us on the reality of the moon, right? Okay. I mean, and the reason for this is I've heard, the conspiracy theories about one half of it being dark because there's a whole bunch of stuff that we are not allowed to see on that side. I was told that if we did land on the moon, we were told never to go back there. How many of these legends, okay, are you about to pull into to sort of fact for us this evening? Because I imagine the ladies have got something to tell us about the moon. I imagine it ain't just a big ball of cheese, right? I'm guessing it ain't just a big ball of cheese in the sky, ladies. So take us through that, because I'm going to shut up because I'm already. Help us out here, Danny. Tell us.
Elena, she'll bring it.
The moon of Earth is not originally from the star system. It comes from another star system. It was brought here. It is a planetoid. It was a moon of another planet somewhere else. It is a real natural planetoid that was carved into the use of spaceship, like a space station, a wandering space station. It was brought there, and the inside of this planetoid is completely hollowed with technologies. There are a lot of facilities, and there is a core engine, which is a core consciousness. It's like a big ball of plasma that is there, and that is an extraterrestrial consciousness. There are technologies that are so advanced that at one point technology merges with consciousness, and plasma can contain it. So this core consciousness is the soul of this planetoid craft that has been dormant until now, and that was actually recently interfaced with, awakened in a way. Anyways, that's a long story. But the moon has been a base of operation and surveillance used by different ETs with different agendas. And recently, the darker ETs, the Nebu Grays from Orion, which includes an alliance, included an alliance that included the Zeta Reticuli as well. These Orion Grays had taken over that moon and made this moon their base, and they were sharing it with the Dark Fleet. We can talk about it later. Tony is a specialist in the Dark Fleet.
Mhm.
There was a lot of things going on with the moon, but it has been liberated in February 2021 by the Earth Alliance, and it was a big battle in February 2021 opposing the forces of the coalition of the positive Earth military, such as the US Navy and the armed force of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, against the Dark Fleet, Fourth Reich Antarctica, the Sikaar Empire, and the Nebu. That was a big war. And once the moon was liberated, it was the start of the liberation of the star system.
Okay, I got some more questions. I'm so sorry. Right. So when we talk about the moon being selected and brought here, right, the consciousness that's on board, are we talking about what we would describe AI is what is the kind of the description, right? We've got this consciousness. When we describe the consciousness of the moon, are we talking about somebody from the species who brought it here? Are they selected to be that conscious, or are we misinterpreting their almost like their data system, the system that runs the ships, the things that turns the lights on, all of that stuff? Are we misinterpreting that consciousness as that sort of internal system of a technology that we don't understand? Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yes. So
Okay.
there's a fundamental difference between AI system powering a ship and a plasmic consciousness. These are completely fundamentally different things. The AI is an extremely developed computer program that is going to be so developed, so advanced, that it is going to be able to think by itself, but it has no consciousness. It's a built
yes, I'm with
intelligence.
you.
Okay, artificial intelligence, that's the right term, right? It is not a fractal of consciousness from creator. It's computerized, artificial. Okay. Now, there's a lot of ships in the Galactic Federation uses a lot of these systems to pilot their ships and power them. Now, we are talking about the moon, regarding the moon, about a more advanced technology that is totally different, that uses real organic beings, consciousnesses, real souls that are space beings, to integrate into a structure, a ship, and animated. So that's the case of the Earth Moon. What are these intelligences? They are also fractals from source, like we are, but they are plasmic beings. They do not live incarnated in avatar bodies, in physicality. They live usually into blobs of plasma that contain their consciousness. And they can be contained in they can be merged into technology if they want. So they invite the being, you cannot force them. A civilization that's going to be advanced enough to interact with them will ask them if they want to cooperate. And we have on Earth an extraordinary witness and of this type of consciousness. The name of the guy is David Adair. He met such a consciousness when he worked in Area 51. He was confronted to a ship that had been taken from extraterrestrials, and it had such a consciousness core engine in it. And the consciousness communicated with him and connected with him. The name of the consciousness was Pitholem, and I advise everyone to check out David Adair. Now that's going on the moon. So it's not about artificial intelligence at all. It's real organic intelligence, plasmic intelligence.
So what you're describing there, tell me in the side chat, when I tell this back, if anyone can hear historical connections to our own lore. A willing individual giving over their, what is seen as their traditional life for their creator, right? And to be taken into a higher consciousness. That is sacrifice. That is willing sacrifice to the gods as we've known it through our history, right? Willingness is so prevalent in this. And it's almost like it's filtered down through the cosmos into our traditions, this willingness to give ourselves over to be united with this higher force. But this seems like the space version, right? Because when we talk about these plasma consciousness, right? Is that, and again, I'm sorry that you're even having to answer these questions. So there's not like a job application, right, to become a plasma consciousness. It's your willingness to sort of hand yourself, and I mean in the realm of these beings, not on Earth, right? There's not, do you see what I mean? It's your willingness to give yourself over to become that consciousness that allows you to become that consciousness, or is there like a vetting process for the individuals that could hand over that consciousness? I don't know why I'm asking you this, or why I'm so fascinated by this. But the thought of this race out there that gives over their physical life to become this immortal key to this species' expansion is just incredible. It's incredible, right? Honest to God. So I don't even remember what my own question was, Elena. I'm not even going to lie. I've forgotten completely what I was talking about. It's mind blowing. So yeah, is it like the sacrifice, and is it if you hand yourself over, or is it a selection process, or is it a specific type of off-worlder? And that's how I'm going to rephrase it. I'm going to stop talking now.
It's not about a sacrifice. It's about an exaltation, apotheosis of a free will decision. You have cycles in the evolution of consciousness. When you fractal first from source, you are a tiny, teeny offshoot, like a seed of consciousness. You're barely sentient that you exist. And you are going to choose a planetary matrix in which you are going to take seed and experience cycles of incarnation through different realms of existence, mineral, vegetal, microbial, biological, whatever is on that world, until your consciousness develops throughout these cycles of incarnation, physical incarnation, and reaches out to the maximum potential as an incarnated being that it can reach. Then you keep on undergoing your journey of the evolution of your consciousness to go back to source. But you bring back with you the experience, and it's source creator that enriches itself with the experience. When you have reached out the limit on that world, you can either decide to stay there, but usually you don't want to. You want to continue to evolve because it's fun. You can choose to incarnate on another world, as you can become a starseed if you want for different reasons. But you can also choose to incarnate into higher life forms that are not constricting your consciousness by physicality. And then you will incarnate in a race and species that are allowing more and more this freedom of expansion of consciousness. And then one day you do not require a physicality, a physical body to exist, to experience life. You are going to be able to choose to incarnate into a species such as these plasma blobs, who look like protozoa or transparent, luminescent, iridescent, octopus-like big giant things in space. They are, oh my gosh, they are so beautiful. The colors. Anyways,
Oh, yeah.
so that's how it works. It's the way it works. You upgrade.
Oh, listen, thank you again, everyone, for being here. Can we just get some likes and some shares whilst Ron sort of combobulates his brain back to all of this, because it's just incredible. Now, I had a person